Well, hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well and had a lovely, lovely weekend. My weekend was a little bit quiet. On Friday evening I stayed in. No, on Friday evening I went out with my friend Graham to a bar, which was okay, but something happened which I'm going to share with you. Nothing major, but at the time it was a bit of a knock in confidence, shall we say. And then on Saturday I relaxed at home, went for a coffee, and then spent Saturday evening in. And then on Sunday I went to meet my friend Kim and we had breakfast together, which was really nice. And then we went for a little walk around the shops, and it was lovely to see all of the autumn clothing and all of the autumn styles in the store. And I have to say, there are some lovely, lovely autumn things in the stores at the moment. Lovely coats, knitwear, lots of brown, grey, navy blue, olive green. So I'm wearing all brown today. Even got brown socks on. You can see them, yeah. And I just love this brown. This is a new jumper from Uniqlo, and these trousers are from Zara. I've had these for about 2 years. And yeah, just wearing all brown makes me feel really elegant. I love this monochromatic look. I just really need to find a lovely chocolate brown coat, like a trench coat, a long coat in wool. And then I think it's because I have my brown Cartier watch as well that I'm really loving brown. So if I can find a brown coat, because I don't have a brown one, I have every other colour. I have black, navy, I have white, cream. I have a coat that is kind of like, it's hard to explain, like salmon colour, I would say, that I've had for about 15 years. So I need a brown coat. So I was looking for one of those, couldn't find one. So I'm going to try and find one of those online, or I'm going to London with Nathan in a few weeks and I'll look for one there. So yeah, last week was a little bit of a funny one. Didn't start off too well. At the weekend, last weekend, I had to go to a birthday party. I think I explained about that. So Sophie here went to stay with the sitter, who is a lovely, lovely person. And when she came back on Sunday morning, she said, "Oh, I'm not sure what has happened, but Sophie was in the kitchen laying down, and then when she stood up to get up, she started limping." So Sophie was in the pushchair. She'd been brought back home in the pushchair, so we took her out, and she was limping. That was on Sunday, so I thought I'm going to leave her all day. Don't take her anywhere, make sure she doesn't jump off the sofa, leave her on the floor, take it very slow, and we'll see what it's like on Monday. So Monday came. She was still limping, and she seemed very out of sorts, quiet. She was eating her food, she was excited to eat breakfast, which was a good sign, but otherwise she just seemed to want to rest. So on Monday afternoon I took her to the vet, and when we got to the vet, miraculously the limp had gone, so it made me look like a bit of a fool. She wasn't limping anymore. The vet said that it was probably arthritis playing up, because she does have arthritis, which she takes medication for, so she said she would give her some extra medication to help ease any stiffness and pain. But she also noticed that her breathing was a little bit exaggerated, and it's something that I noticed last week. So when she's laying down, her breathing, you can see the sides of her tummy going. So the vet asked me about that, and I said yes, I'd noticed it for about 2 weeks. And the vet basically said that because she's almost 14, that's 14 to 16 is the lifespan of a Shih Tzu. She said we could do an X-ray, find out if it's fluid on the lungs, but really she is almost 14. What is it going to do to improve the plan of Sophie's life? Is it just going to be a lot of hassle for her? And she said you really need to start thinking about, coming to terms with that this is going to be the last few years. And I already knew that anyway, because dogs don't live forever, but it was just hearing it from the vet, it really just shocked me a little bit to the core, and I started to get tears in my eyes, and when you feel the pain in the back of your throat, and it just made me realise she really is getting very old now, and these things happen and they start to end life. So it just wasn't very nice going home and thinking about that. And I mean, she could live for 2 more years. This is a very slow, chronic condition. She's got bronchitis. But it was just that, you know, you think that... I remember the days when you took them to the vet and you could fix things and, you know, they can live for many more years. But now it's the fact that you have to start thinking about winding down and what you can do just to make her life really comfortable. So, but I'm very happy to say that after that, on Tuesday, she's having 2 painkillers in the morning, 1 painkiller in the evening, and it's made a huge difference. She's not limping, she's running around in the morning, excited to eat, she still likes going for a walk, and she just seems a lot better. So that's very good news. But just the beginning of the week, last week, that blow was quite difficult and quite sad. So yeah, that was a hard thing to deal with, and even though I'm very, very content and happy living on my own, sometimes when you have to go through these things, you think that it would be nice to have a support here. I mean, I have a wonderful family, amazing friends, but it just, sometimes you just crave that. You know, when I was with my ex-boyfriend, he was older than me and he was very good at making me feel relaxed and settled about things, and sometimes you crave that support again rather than having to deal with everything on your own. But I'm absolutely fine. But then what I mentioned before, I don't know why I'm sharing all of this personal stuff. I feel like I can now. I've been here for so long with you all, I can tell you everything. So when I went out on Friday, I went to a bar with my friend Graham, and there was a guy at the bar, and I noticed that he was looking at me, and eventually he came over and said hello and asked if I wanted a drink, so we had a drink. Turns out he was German. He was here in Edinburgh for work for the weekend, and we got talking, we had a little bit of a kiss. He was very, very nice, very gentlemanly. And then my friend Graham and I decided that we were leaving, going to another place, and so he asked if he could come with us, and we said yes. So we waited outside for a cab. It was quite cold outside. He offered me his jacket, and then we got into the cab and we sat in the back and we were talking about life and stuff like that. And then he goes, "By the way, how old are you?" And I said, "Well, how old do you think I am?" This is the thing I always do now. And he said, "Well, I'm 25 and I reckon you're probably the same age." So I told him my age, and he didn't seem to be shocked by it. He just kind of moved the conversation on, and then we got to the next place. We walked in, he went straight to the loo, and then we went to the bar, and he just said, "Look, I'm really sorry, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that we are compatible, and I'm going to leave." And it was just a shock, another shock. Like, I was shocked. And I didn't click at first. I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong, what's happened? And then I realised it was probably the fact that I am 10 years older than him. And he was probably processing that information in the cab, and he realised that it's too big of a gap. Now, I am not really interested in younger guys. I'm not. I've always dated older men. Ever since I was young, I preferred the company of older men. I generally get on with older people anyway. I have lots of older friends. I've always got on well with older ladies. I used to spend a lot of time with my granny. So I've always enjoyed the company of older people. And I was never really attracted to people my age. But when you get to 35 and you're going out to bars and clubs, it is going to be that the pool of people are younger, because I'm 35, there's a lot of younger people out, and I'm still attracting young people. So I have kind of dated 1 or 2 guys, not for very long. It doesn't really end up being anything substantial, because they're a lot more immature than me. It just doesn't work. So I have dated 1 or 2 guys who've been a bit younger, and I thought maybe I'm just going to have to lean into that. And what I found, actually, is that these younger guys are very, very very tender and caring and romantic, a lot more than older guys can be, I have to say. So I was a little bit impressed. But yes, this little incident was just a bit like, oh my god. I was feeling a little bit delicate anyway from Sophie, and then it's the first time in my life I've experienced, is it ageism? I don't know. Maybe ageism. and I just found it a little bit strange. But I'm over it now, but I just wanted to share that moment with you because I did post about it on my TikTok. So if anybody has seen it, then maybe you wanted to know a bit more, so I thought that I would tell you. I'm just sharing what's going on in life. But a lot of people commented on TikTok, oh, you shouldn't be bothered about that, he's not worthy of you, da-da-da-da. And truly, I wasn't posting the video for people to give me sympathy. I am a very strong person. And I know, like, I wasn't falling in love with this person. We'd met 5 minutes before. It was just the fact that it's never happened before, and I wanted to share what had happened to me and how it made me feel. But yes, I know I'm fine, the right person will come along, and actually, I'm not really sure what I'm looking for anymore. I keep confusing myself. One day I think that I would love to meet somebody. The next moment, I just think, how on earth would this a person fit into my life when I so enjoy being on my own? I'm very content being on my own. I enjoy travelling with Nathan, doing my own thing. And lots of people wouldn't be able to deal with that kind of lifestyle. So I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm just going to relax about it as always and just let what will be, will be. So yeah, I just wanted to share those few thoughts with you, things that have been going on. I always like to share some stuff with you, so I thought that I would do that now. But yes, it's been a nice relaxing weekend. The weather is quite lovely here. Sunny, still very warm. I mean, I'm wearing this knitwear. I went out earlier for a walk and I was a little bit too warm, which is quite annoying. I want to get all wrapped up and cozy now. I'm ready for it. Just in my closet, and I wanted to share two new things that I bought at the weekend when I was shopping with my friend, that lean into that autumnal thing. So this one, I talked about this earlier, this is from Uniqlo, a sweater. And then I got another one, and I just loved this colour. Can you see that? A really rich chocolate brown, and it has a lovely, lovely feeling, nice and soft. Now, I always like to check what the materials are in these things, but I think I may have cut this out. I think this is cashmere because it was one of the more expensive items from Uniqlo. Nothing in there is too expensive, but the cashmere is, I think, like 90 to 110 pounds. This is actually from the women's section because they fit me better. I'm so short that I need things to sit on my hips rather than all the way down to my knees. So this, I thought, was great. And I just love, this would look great with the brown pants that I'm wearing now. It would also look really, really great with a pair of light denim, like that. That's a really great look for autumn as well. And it would go lovely with some cream pants. So I've got these ones here. These are a very soft cream, and that goes really nicely as well, the two colours. And I also have some corduroy trousers that I got last year from Uniqlo, and those would also look really great. So a lovely option for versatile looks, for versatility. And I just really like this brown colour. I think it might be my colour of the season. So I've got that. And then I bought this jacket. This is also from Uniqlo. And I really liked this. I've been seeing these are becoming pretty on trend at the moment. A lot of people are wearing them, and they're kind of like a utility jacket. They've got this corduroy collar, and then on the sleeves they've got the corduroy inside as well. And it's just a really great option for this time of year when you're between seasons. Like yesterday I went out and I was wearing a sweater and I was a bit too warm. And then in Edinburgh it gets very windy and it gets too cold, but you don't really want a thick jacket. So this is perfect because it's light, but also if you want to wear a sweater underneath it, you can. So you've got the warmth, but also just a little bit not too warm, so that you can choose what you want to do. So I really like this. I think it looks great. A nice option. It's very hard for me to show you with the camera that way. But yeah, I really love this. It's got this little vent in the back, so it fits beautifully. And again, another really versatile option. You can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with corduroy, you can wear it with more smart trousers. It's a really great little jacket and I like it. So yeah, I liked this, and they had this in this colour, they had it in olive green, and they also had it in black. And I just think, from Uniqlo, it's a little great option for autumn, when you're between the seasons. And also you could wear this in the winter as long as you have, you know, a nice thick woolen sweater on. You're going to be kept warm and look stylish too. So those are my newbies that I wanted to share. And now I need to stop buying clothes because I have too many. So I want to try and dry out these hydrangeas because they're going very crispy now, and I've got some dried hydrangeas in the house from last year that I got from the forest, but now that I've got my own here that I've grown, I want to try and preserve them. So I'm going to cut some of these off, and what you need to do is take off the leaves, and then you pop them into very, very shallow water and let the water just evaporate, and then you should be able to preserve the hydrangea. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I'm going to try. I want to try. So I've got a few hydrangeas here. I'm going to take some from here, so we don't want to make them look too bare, but we will try. Oops, I cut off the main thing. The colours are lovely. These started off white and now they're going pink, and they'll eventually go red. So yeah, just remove any of the leaves. So yes, I've got my hydrangeas. I've removed all of the leaves from the foliage from them, and we're going to see now whether we can do anything with these. So I'm just going to bunch them all together, and I have put some water in there in the pot, just enough to let them all have a little bit, even though some of them have got different lengths. So I'll have a little bit of water in there. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can dry them out and then display them around the house. So, I wanted to share a book with you that I recently found through Amazon. Now I know people moan about Amazon, but it is pretty great for getting things that you really need and finding things that are unique, especially old books. So I can't remember how I stumbled upon this illustrator and author called Abby Zabar. I think it was something to do with Bunny Mellon in one of her books, the biographies of her. I think she was mentioned for creating something to do with bunnies' topiaries. But anyway, I found Abby on Instagram. She's a New Yorker, an illustrator. She seems to be quite elegant and classy. and she wrote a series of books, and the one that I really wanted to get was this one. It's called The Potted Herb. You can see that it's got this topiary here on the front cover and then on the back as well. And this is all about herb gardening. So it says, herb gardening in pots affords all the larger pleasures of gardening in a microcosm. With skill, imagination and flair, the results can be spectacular. In a book full of delights, the author shares her thoughts on the history and cultivation of herbs, as well as giving specific advice on propagating and training. Taking a decorative approach, she reminds us that there is always room for a garden of potted herbs, and that there may be no better Christmas tree than a pine-scented rosemary topiary planted in an old rose pot. How heavenly would that be? Instructions, recipes and fresh ideas for using herbs, spring wreaths, ointments, sachets, food and presents are all prettily illustrated with the author's drawings. And this is such a lovely book. And look in there, it says, from the garden library of, and you can write your name. And I just love really special things like this. And it just seems that these kind of books just don't really get made these days. So this was first published in 1988. Quite old now. And it's just full of Abby's illustrations. You can see this one at the very back. A cute gate. And yes, what it just said in the description, recipes, advice on growing topiaries. A lovely, lovely book to have in your collection if you like gardens and gardening. And the lovely thing as well about herb gardens is that everybody can have them, even if you've only got like a window ledge or a little place to put pots. So I just really love this, and because I am very interested in topiary, especially myrtle, I wanted to find out if there was some secret tips and tricks that she could teach me to keep them alive. It does talk about myrtle in here. So yeah, I wanted to share this with you. You may be able to find a copy online. Please do try, because it is such a lovely, lovely, lovely book. And yeah, I think, because as you saw earlier on, I was watering my rosemary, I will see about maybe taking a clipping of that and turning that into a topiary as well, because rosemary topiaries are very cute. And then also, ooh, listen to this, barely cooked tomato sauce with basil. When you want to serve something full of flavour but you have limited time, try this delicious solution. Ooh, that sounds heavenly. So yeah, I'm going to try a few of the recipes as well, but I thought this was a lovely one to share with you all today. Well, alright everybody, thank you once again for joining me this week. I hope you've enjoyed this little catch-up together. I'll be back on Thursday with a more cosy style, something to do with the house. Last week I did the apple tart. If you haven't tried that one, please do. Honestly, I don't usually eat the things that I make for YouTube. I'll have one slice of it and then give it to a friend or a neighbour. The apple tart, I had to keep it for myself. It was probably the most delicious thing that I've made in a very long time. I love tarts and pastry. When I was growing up, when I used to see my granny, she always used to get these jam tarts. And then I also love a Bakewell tart, which is very British, from Derbyshire, and that is almond with icing on, and jam. So this tart with the very soft apples, the lovely thin pastry which was covered in jam, oh my gosh, I just adored eating it all last week. So I really enjoyed having that treat for myself. So yeah, do try that one out. Yeah, and I'm just going to be back probably on Thursday with something like that, creating something, doing things around the house, and then these are the vlogs where I chat and it's more about real life. So I hope that you do enjoy this, because sometimes I worry that I'm oversharing or sharing things that you're perhaps not really interested in. You think, oh my god, this is so boring. So please do let me know, and I'll have to change it up. But yeah, I just enjoy being here and having a catch up and a chat with you all at the beginning of the week. So I hope that you enjoy it too. I want to wish you all a lovely, lovely week ahead, whatever you're doing. Take care, enjoy the changing of the seasons wherever you are. I know some of my audience is in the southern hemisphere, so you're coming into spring. How lucky you are. So enjoy everybody, take care, and I will see you next time.